Okay, right now we are going to go to the last part of this class today. So we are going to listen, and right now what basically is going to be, he's going to talk about the difference, like why. I mean, we just already talked why people used to live longer, and right now we are going to see nowadays why people don't live as long as before, So we are going to listen, okay? So I'm going to follow you the same with the cursor. You're going to follow the characters. Even if you don't understand, or you don't really get the characters, it's okay, just follow, you listen. It will kind of like help you. And if you are actually interested to learn Chinese, or Chinese will be, I think, a good help, So we are going to go through them, okay? So here.
今时之人不然也，以酒为浆，以妄为常。醉以入房，以欲结其精，以好散其真。不知持满，不识欲神，勿快其心。溺于声乐，起居无节，故半百而衰也。
Okay, so right now I'm going to explain you. We are going to read. You can read actually first. You can pause the video anytime and you can read, and then we can go through. Okay. So right now, what we are going to see here is like why people nowadays are living not as long as they used to live. So actually here also we have some reasons. I think it's also kind of like 5 or 6. I think we have 6. We have some 6 reasons, So actually it's going to be the totally opposite of what we just read about, So we are going to see. So he's going to say here that actually the people nowadays, and they drink alcohol, too much. It's like they don't have any regulation and they just drink and get drunk every time. And then it's like, here it says like sui y rufang, actually this sui means like when you get drunk or intoxicated, and here we have it like, it says like you have sexual intercourse while intoxicated, it doesn't really mean that. What it means is like people have right now, like nowadays, they have too much sex, so actually that's the thing they mean. It doesn't mean that you have to be drunk. It's kind of like you're drunk because of the sex, kind of like, the sex kind of like a lure, like a desire, and you cannot really stop that desire, and you have too much sex, actually. Okay, so as I was telling you, so people, the first thing is the alcohol. The second thing is like too much sex, The third thing is like they don't control their desires, like all type of desires. And actually that was the reason they kind of like consume their lives, And yeah, the third thing is like it's kind of like making emphasis on this thing, like people, they don't really control their own desires, so they were actually doing, I mean, here we have like the heart, so actually they were doing everything, that they wanted to do, so it's kind of like, here we have the translation. It says like people rush to the gratification of their hearts, but actually it means that they couldn't control their own desires, so people tend to do everything exceed and too much, try to be happy all the time, but it's like this fake happiness and all this crazy life, without any regulation, so we have here that they don't have like, they have like any regular pattern, so it's kind of like they don't have any regulation on their lives. They live lives like just like that, like they don't care about nothing, and sex, alcohol, it's kind of like it's kind of like nowadays, sell alcohol and drugs, kind of like same thing, they meant. And yeah, and actually that says that this is the reason, why they were living half, that they used to live. And right now we are going to talk about the last part of the video. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about the last part of this video. Especially this text, here we have here, this one we are going to listen. This is really important, I remember in university they make us memorize this text. So this will actually explain, like how to make the disease, like the disease go away, kind of like you're never going to be sick, So actually this is going to be the reason. He's going to explain why. and then we are going to see. Okay, so as always, we are going to listen. Okay, you listen and then. Yeah.
夫上古圣人之教下也，皆谓之虚邪贼风，避之有时。恬淡虚无，真气从之。精神内守，病安从来。
Okay, so as I explained you, so this is the way to prevent disease. It's kind of like a prevention advice. So he's saying that actually the Asian people, and we have here another new word, it's the Shengren, it's kind of like these people were kind of like if we see it as a hierarchy, let me think, it's kind of like in these Buddhist temples, these Shengren, they were like people that they were living like really long, and they were like really wise people, So actually we have this, we have here inside of these Shengren people like maybe Lao Tzu and really famous philosophers, kind of like they were like, they were not gods, but they were kind of like remarkable people, they were living really long. So actually we are going to see. So actually what they were... Okay, so here in this first part, we have here like Xu Xue Zai Feng, So this, actually the translation here is really bad, It says, well, let me see what it says, It says like, avoid the deficiency, vicious energy, and stealing wind constantly. It's like, what? It doesn't make any sense, So actually what they meant here, it's kind of like, yeah, you have to avoid deficiency, but in order to prevent, like feng here, it means wind, but actually what it means here, like in Chinese medicine, as you maybe know, all the disease, they come from outside. So actually when we have here the word feng, in this case means all, we can actually include all the pathogens, we have like wind, we have cold, we have heat, so we have a lot of pathogens that actually can affect our body. So actually what it means is like you have to try to don't get too weak, because if you're weak, it's kind of like, if we see it like nowadays, we're talking here about the immunologic system, it's kind of like saying if your immunologic system is not good, it's really easy to contract disease, so this is what it means, so this is the way to understand it, here the translation it's really weird, so it's not like that. It's just saying like you shouldn't be weak, kind of like you should eat good, and actually avoid the things we just learned, don't drink too much alcohol, having excess of sex, yeah, kind of like don't have like a routine, like don't be disciplined and things like that, can affect that your body will be weak, and if your body is weak, you will have disease. That's what he means. Okay, so this is the way to prevent disease. Okay, the second thing is like I love these 4 words. Actually, it's really beautiful. It's only 4 words. And the meaning inside of these 4 words is really really deep. And actually, what it means is like you should live without any desire on your heart. And it says that in this way, this is the best way to make your spirit, in this case, again, this word came, like the spirit. We in Chinese medicine we have 2 parts, the body and the spirit, and we need both of them to be like healthy, So it means like in this case, the spirit will be inside, and in this way, it's going to be really hard to contract disease, Okay, right now, the last part of this class. It's not really important in order to understand. It's kind of like the same thing, we're kind of like doing a repetition of everything we learn, so we're going to read, and then yeah, you're going to listen, and then we're going to continue. Okay,
是以至闲而少欲，心安而不惧，行劳而不倦，气从以顺，各从其欲，皆得所愿。故美其食，忍其福，乐其俗，高下不相慕，其民故曰朴。是以嗜欲不能劳其目，淫邪不能惑其心。愚智 贤不肖，不惧于物，故合于道。所以能年皆度100岁而动作不衰者，以其德全不危也。
First thing is like he's saying that in order to be healthy, you know, I mean it's kind of like the second part of the part we just read and like just a few minutes ago. So actually here, basically, you know, the most I think the translation is it's kind of okay, you know. I mean it's not that bad. I mean there is some parts that I'm like, for example, here it says like no fear, you know. I mean it doesn't mean that, and also it says here like you have to work hard without fatigue. I mean it doesn't really mean that, you know. So I'm going to go like and I'm going to explain you. So the first part here, like yeah, it's kind of like actually mean like you have to live with not too many desires, you know. So we have here like some, I mean you can have desires but not too many desires, you know. And then it's kind of like you have to live like a peaceful life, you know. And when he says here like with no fears, actually it meant that you should do the good things, you know, because I mean it's kind of like, I mean we can actually interpret this word as guilty, you know, in some way. I mean as I see it, it's kind of like guilty, you know, when you do bad things. I mean even if you don't care and everything, it will be there in your heart, you know. That's how they try to explain it there, you know, everything. Okay. Here actually doesn't really means that you have to work hard and don't get what it says like without fatigue. Actually it means that I mean it doesn't really mean that. I mean actually means that you shouldn't exceed, you know, like overwork and do more than your body can do, you know. And you should, okay, so we continue here. Okay, so it also says that you have to retain smooth energy circulation, actually, but not really, you know. So actually means like you should go according to the chi, you know. So I will go also through that. It's really hard to explain you right now because it's too much information, but going through the chi just means that you have to go according to the regulation of the chi, you know, that is in your body, in your 5 organs and everything, you know. And then so we have to live like, I mean actually here the translation is really good, you know. So people, I mean here we have it, you know. So people should live with the food they have, you know. They should live with the with the clothes they have, you know. They should be happy with what they have, you know. Actually what is the meaning, you know. And actually here also is really important, you know, like they have to live happy, you know, whatever class they belong to. So if they are the emperor, you know, if you are a poor person, you should be happy of what you have, you know, and try to don't have any more desires, you know. Only in this way you will be really satisfied and happy, you know. And actually here the rest of the translation is good, you know, we can see. So actually here, I mean what it means is like if you don't do that, you know, you will kind of like live, I mean your heart, you know, will not be able to distinguish, you know, between the good things. And then yeah, I mean in order, I mean because of all these things, you know, you're going to live less than you have to live. Why? Because you are all going to be worried and you are going to think about I mean you're going to have a lot of desires. You want this, you want that, you're not going to be never happy. And you know, like the emotions can actually affect us a lot. And actually that's what they meant, you know. And that's actually the reason, you know, if you have to be kind of like live in the best way you can, you know, without too much desires. That's what we meant here. And yeah, I mean, and it means that, I mean, and at the end, actually the end of the translation is really good. You can actually base on that, you can finish to read, and that's the thing. Okay, hope you like it. Just yeah, follow and try to comment if you have any questions, if you have I don't know, any ideas, or yeah, just let me know what you think about the videos. Okay, thank you a lot. Have a good day. Bye bye.